Welcome back, McFly subscribers. Today we are continuing the small streamer series with this Slump Buster fly. I will discuss this fly and its applications later in the video, as I'm sure you want to get started tying right away. But in case you haven't seen this channel before, this is McFly Angler.
Starts now.
Okay, let's start tying. Place a hook and cone head securely in your vise. For a hook, I'm using Risen Streamer 200 in size 12. And for the cone head, I'm using these hairline small brass cone heads. And I'm using gold today, but you can use any color you want. So this hook is a 4x long, which you do want to hook with some extra length. And I like using a down eye as well. To place a cone on the hook, put the cone in your hand and bring the hook point to it. However, because the hook still has a barb, the cone won't slide up past the barb. So let's go ahead and smash that barb. And this can be done easily in your vise. Just turn the hook sideways and then clamp the vise down, and you'll end up without a barb. Now the cone head can slide easily up the hook. We will also need some thread, and today I'm using Viva's 6/0 in brown. Start your thread right behind the cone and snip or snap off the waist. Then bring your thread down to the start of the hook bend. Now we need some pine squirrel zonker strips. You can get a small baggie like this, which will tie maybe 20 or so of these flies, but they also sell full skins that will tie over 100. And they do come in dyed colors like this olive, or any other color that you're looking for, more than I have here. But today we're using the natural color. Let's measure out this tail to be about a half a hook shank length, and you can make it longer or shorter if you wish. Then pull back the fur up by the bead and cut it off the rest of the strip. Now pull off some of the fur at the clipped off end to leave a small piece of bare hide. Wet your fingers, then pull back some of the fur near the start of the hook bend where your thread is. This will keep that fur back. Then make 3 tight wraps over the bare hide. Pull back the rest of the hide and end with your thread in front. Then I like cutting a small notch in the back of the tail to help make the tail move more in the water. Now we need some wire. And today I'm using UTC Ultra wire in a small sized and gold color. Pull off 3 turns of this wire and break it off the spool, which should tie 2 to 3 of these flies. Tie in this wire on the side of the hook right in front of the tail so that the wire extends up to just shy of the cone. Now we need some body wrap, and I'm using this sparkle braid in chartreuse. Pull off 3 turns and cut it free, which should tie 2 of these flies. You could use other materials to wrap the body as well, including flash like Crystal Flash and Flashaboo. This holographic braid also works great and looks amazing. Chenille comes in many colors, sizes, and types, which also could work. Or even use floss, which could give a nice smooth look. The choice is up to you. Tie in the body wrap right in front of the tail, and then make even wraps up the hook shank until you reach the cone. Now start making touching wraps up the hook shank with your body wrap of choice to cover the body. When you reach the cone, then capture it and cut off the waist. Pull the tag end of the tail zonker up and tie that down with multiple tight wraps, ensuring that it is directly on top of the hook and not twisted at all. Then pull the fur up and grab the wire. Pull back a little of the fur to create an open area on the hide, and wetting the fur can help keep it back. Then wrap over that part, trying not to trap any fibers. Stroking up the fibers after wrapping the wire can help release any trapped fibers. Now we will spiral this wire up the hook, splitting the fur with each wrap, trying to ensure that the wire doesn't trap any of the fibers. That is probably the most difficult part of this fly, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not too hard to do. Just take your time and realign any fibers that get pushed off to the side. When you reach your thread, then capture the wire with a few tight wraps and helicopter the wire off clean. Now we need to make a collar, and the easiest way I find to do that is with these Pettigene clips. They come in multiple sizes, but we will use a small base today, and of course a small clip as well. Take the hide and push it into the base, which will hold it for you with the fibers angling up. So I pulled on the hide a little, which moved the fibers a bit, so I'm just realigning them here. Anyway, now let's use the clip to grasp the fiber tips and then pull it out of the base. Now, let's cut the hide off with some long scissors, which will leave you some fur that will be easily put into the dubbing loop with the fiber lengths all even. And you can just place this on your tying bench while you prepare the dubbing loop. Oh, and by the way, if you don't have this tool, which is rather expensive, you could use a chip clip. Of course, you won't have the base, so it's a little more difficult. Okay, let's prepare the dubbing loop. Wrap the thread around your finger and bring it back up onto the hook. Then start wrapping down, capturing both ends of the loop, which will bring the ends together to a point, and bring that down to the start of the fur. Okay, here let me show you this up close so you can see what's happening. You can see how the 2 ends of the loop are brought together to a point. Then bring your thread back up to right behind the bead. Now you need to attach a dubbing twister, which is just a heavy weight with some hooks. See here how it holds the loop? Now place the fur you prepared earlier into the loop, so the butt ends are barely sticking out. If they are sticking out too much, just push them back like so. Now pinch the thread right behind the fur and start twisting your dubbing twister. Then when you let go of the loop, the fur will twist up to form a hackle of sorts. Twist this up a few more times to ensure that it is tight and the fur won't pull out. Then start winding this onto the hook to form a collar on the fly. Now it is good practice to pull all the fiber rearward with each wrap. You want to stuff as much fur up behind the cone as possible. Once you wrap on all the fur, then bring your thread under the dubbing loop and around to capture that loop. Then wrap in front, and then under and over it once again. Then you can trim off the loop. Pull all the fur back and make a few wraps under the cone, and then you can whip finish the fly and trim off the waist. Now brush out the fly as we want to release any trapped fiber on the collar. Now it's almost impossible not to leave a gap between the collar and the cone when tying this fly, so I like to start more thread up right behind the hook eye in front of the cone, and make multiple wraps to form a thread dam. And that thread dam will push the cone up against the collar, and then you can whip finish once again. Now you're going to need some head cement, and I really like this Solarez Ultra Thin. It has a handy paintbrush in the cap for easy application. And this stuff is perfect for this thread dam, as it is thin enough to penetrate the wraps, but when cured with the UV light, it will make that thread dam super hard, and will help hold that cone back. I find it also will penetrate back up under the bead, and secure the whip finish under the bead. Okay, well there we go, the Slump Buster is now finished. Now this fly holds a special place in my heart, as it caught me my first brown over 20 inches. In fact, that day I was fishing all day long, trying different streamers and nymphs. I lost a ton of flies, tripped and fell in the water multiple times, and I was just having a terrible day fishing. As I was walking back to my vehicle to leave, I decided to give it one more go. I reached into my box and pulled out one of these Slump Busters to try and fish a deep hole. I dead drifted this through the hole, and right as the line started to tighten at the start of my swing, that brown clobbered the fly. Now I tell you this story because it perfectly illustrates why this fly is called a slump buster. I mean, it literally busted my fishing slump that day. And since then, I've had great luck fishing this fly up in Colorado, or anywhere really that has fast moving water and deep holes that I need to reach. The fly does get down very quickly, and it moves a lot of water, and it has really nice action due to that squirrel fur. These perfectly represent a small sculpin, but can also represent any small little baitfish. They can be tied in multiple colors, and I regularly tie them in black and olive, which are colors to mimic sculpin, but I also love fishing white for mimicking other small baitfish. These are inexpensive to tie as well, as all you will need is some squirrel strips, a body wrap, wire, and a cone. In fact, the most expensive part of this fly is that cone. Luckily, Risen sells cones for a great price. Now, I didn't use their cone on this fly because I'm out of the small size, but their hooks, beads, and cones are excellent prices for high quality. And yes, they are my sponsor, but I approached them for sponsorship because I loved all their gear. Not only are the hooks and beads excellent quality and price, but they also make some of the best fly rods and reels for the money I have ever used. Best off, they're offering you all a discount. So if you're in the market for a new rod or a bunch of hooks or beads, go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout, and they'll give you 15% off of your first order with them. Okay, well, I'm almost done filling up this small streamer box, and we have only one more fly pattern left in this small streamer series. So far, I've tied the rabbit fur leech, the woolly bugger in 2 different styles, this slump buster I tied for you today, and I will finish the series next week with the classic streamer called the Matuka, which is a fairly lightweight and easy to cast streamer. So make sure you're subscribed and click that bell notification so you don't miss any future videos like this Matuka fly. By the way, I do sell these waterproof silicone boxes on Amazon with free shipping. They're super thin, fitting in most shirt pockets for quick runs to the water, or you can fit multiple in a chest pack, allowing you to organize your boxes by fly type, like this small streamer box. And while they're very thin, they still have enough room to hold small streamers without compressing the materials. The silicone back is self-healing as well, so even if you do miss the pre-made slots to hold your flies and poke the silicone, it won't get all beat up like those foam back boxes. I will link to my Amazon storefront below in the description section of this video if you're interested. Okay, well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor and click the like button. Also, please share my videos with all your fishing friends, and I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.